Tag trinkt jemand Wasser oder Soda aus Plastikflaschen. Und diese finden irgendwie ihren Weg in unsere Flüsse und Meer.
This river is called Gong River. It emanates from Gong Hills. And now it passes through Kibera slum, through the industrial area, and all this wastage that is where people are living. Matters to do with the wastage from the toilets and matters to do with the wastage on their domestic. Either these paper bags, any kind of trash which you're gonna see here emanating from the households which are along the river. And it goes all the way to other slums at Kayore, where we call Soweto, and then it emanates to Ruai. In Ruai it meets the Nairobi River, and then there it goes over to Tana River. And the bottom line, all this trash goes to Indian Ocean.
Mimi kama Lucy, Kenya naweza waeleza kuhusu hapa Riverbank. Hapa Riverbank mazingira yetu ni mabaya sana. Azini venye mnaangalia hii mto yetu venye inakaa hii mto, nasikianga ikiitwa Nairobi River. Mto yenyewe ni chafu. Watoto wenyewe wanapitia huku. Mto yenyewe imefanywa ndio dumping sites. Kila aina ya takataka inarushwa hapa, mashindano, pampas, always, kila ghasia yoyote.
Wie kommt es, dass wir so viel Plastikmüll in Kenya haben? Nicht nur im Meer und den Flüssen, sondern auch auf dem Land in Kenya.
So what is the waste management cycle in Kenya today?
The waste management in Kenya today, the question you are putting before me is, do we have any?
Yes, we have any.
Yes. To me, from my point of view, we don't have any. Because if there is any waste management cycle, we know when waste comes from our house, it must to go to a point up to the end. But when you walk around, you will see litters all around, which tells you that the waste management cycle in Kenya is not there.
We can all agree that waste management doesn't work as good as it should in Kenya. If we look at really normal household waste, roughly with the right processes, with the right policies in place, around 95% can be in a way recycled, reused. That means we would only talk about around 5% of the waste ending in landfills. I could look up the number. I think it's rather somewhere around 70–80% that's ending up on the landfill of the waste that is collected. So it's complicated. So not all the waste is collected. Something is burned on site, for example. Something is dumped in your own compound. Then some of the waste is collected. And of the waste that is collected, the majority ends up on a landfill.
Wie können wir dieses Problem angehen?
We are currently working on developing the Kenya Plastic Action Plan.
We have gone through the country, meeting people in the different value chain of plastic, talking to them, trying to understand what are the regulatory gaps that exist, what are the challenges that they face, what are the changes that have been seen in the country in the past few years, knowing what they think an ideal recycling and waste collection concept should be. When we talk with the people, ideally would be to have just sorting efficiently and ensuring that everything that is recyclable goes to the recycling, and whatever really cannot be recycled, cannot be converted into compost, then ends in the landfill.
And then as a next step, and something that is definitely not undertaken by us alone, where we just give a bit of an input, to find solutions.
We act as the company itself as an interface between the German company who has expertise when it comes to designing waste and recycling infrastructure and the Kenyan private sector who wants to contribute to build like a good solid waste management system here.
Things we have learned, there is a lot of recycling going on. Many materials are recycled by really, I would call them grassroots companies. People who make a living from collecting, from sorting, from selling plastics, and everywhere in the country. And that is something that was really impressing and partly surprising myself, that the plastic recycling value chain does in many parts already exist, driven by local people. Political processes take time, and everywhere in the world, in Germany, in the US, in China, and here as well. So we are just stimulating a political process.
After the plastic bag ban, people started already to get pretty aware of the whole situation. Because of this consciousness, the private sector started like, okay, before we have another ban, let's become proactive, let's manage waste, because we can't avoid it by now, because even though we try to reduce, there will always be a rest. If we try to manage it smartly.
From August 2017, we found about the plastic bags. Although Kenyans were not prepared for it, but now they have coped up. We don't see the plastic bags around.
So this was a campaign that was started by James Wakibia, who's an environmental activist. He's like, let's ban plastic bags. So it resulted in a ban of single-use plastic bags, which are given out for free in supermarkets at kiosks.
If you are found with the plastic bags, you can go in for 5 years, or you can be fined up to 5 million. So the measures are very punitive. So Kenyans are trying to be aware of it. And one of the things that where Kenyans were very successful is that even if they were not properly prepared, they supported this move. And as I speak to you, that so many countries are using Kenya as a case study. They are asking, how have you managed to do it? Other countries, as I have said, they have known on how to do segregation, but in Kenya we are saying that we don't want plastic bags, and that's the way to go.
So Ben was swimming in the ocean and he kept on seeing how much plastic waste there was. And he thought that there must be a better way to dispose of this plastic or even use it, give it a second life. They came up with the idea of the boat because the dhow is culturally significant in Lamu. So they thought this was a perfect match of culture and innovation.
No, it's only plastic, apart from the boom and the mast, which are made with wood. But all the hull, the deck, everything is plastic planks, but it's only plastic.
The Flipflopi weighs around 7 tons. So a bit more plastic was used, but once compressed, it weighs 7 tons. So the process of collecting plastic for the Flipflopi, it took 3 hours. So a team of 50 volunteers took 3 hours to clear up a 5 km beach, and they collected 5 tons.
And everything was built in Lamu, in Ali's warehouse. So everything was a very little thing at first. And when the boat was launched for the International Cleanup Day last September in Lamu, it attracted the attention of the government and of the United Nations. And we got support from mainly the United Nations, and they sponsored the expedition to Zanzibar. And now we hope that the Kenyan government will take part of it, and because it's a Kenyan project, so it's a Kenyan pride as well. So it should be supported by the government.
Our goal right now is a lot of advocacy. We were at the UN as well, so hoping to engage policymakers and delegates and just the Kenyan public on the scope of the problem and how they can solve it. So a lot of people don't know how bad the plastic pollution problem is, so what we're doing is making sure they do. And those people hopefully are taking action to change their habits with plastic waste. And so we hope that everyone who hears this story can reevaluate how much plastic they're using, how they're using it, and how they're disposing of it, and make better choices, because one person can make a large difference.
We don't want a world without plastic, we want a world without single-use plastic. So I think we need to adapt our whole economic model to take into account that the things we are producing now, they have an effect on the environment, and we need to find a way to bring this waste into the industry again, so that there will be like a circular economy, and the harm to the environment will be as limited as possible.
If you reduce, then you don't have to recycle lots of amounts.
So I think when we're looking at reducing plastic, we're looking at production and consumption. So on the production side, it's encouraging alternative like packaging, because a lot of stuff you buy like soap, it comes in really thin plastic. you might not have any other alternative. Like everything is has single-use plastic. So it's also for them to invest in alternative packaging. So it's easier for us as consumers to choose better products. So that's one way of reducing production of plastics. And then consumption is a personal choice. So it's refusing to buy a plastic bottle of water and instead carrying a reusable bottle of water from home. I think the next step we've seen is our President Uhuru Kenyatta banning single-use plastics within our game reserves, our national parks, our beaches. This is a way to keep clean some of the environments we prize the most. And then hopefully this can spread into our households, because national parks and beaches are just a small part of what Kenya is. So it also takes us as Kenyans to say, I don't need a straw to drink juice. I can drink straight from the glass, or I can bring my bottle. So it's just individual choices everyone makes.
The future belongs to you. It is your responsibility to take care of the environment. It is your responsibility to go and tell your colleagues, your fellow students, your fellow brothers and sisters, that the time has come for us to take care of the environment.
Wir haben immer noch Hoffnung, unseren Planeten zu retten. Wir können dies tun, indem wir unseren täglichen Verbrauch an Einwegplastik reduzieren und auch das Bewusstsein für diejenigen schaffen, denen es an ausreichenden Informationen über die Auswirkungen von Plastik auf die Umwelt fehlt.
Die Regierung kann auch strenge Regeln wie das Verbot von Plastiktüten festlegen. Wenn ich es schaffe, schaffst du es auch.